Hey, I'm back again. I just couldn't get this off my chest, and I haven't said anything in a little while, and I'm just gonna go on a roll. Okay, so let's watch this. Tyrants and LEOs, which means law enforcement officers and local journalists, whirling in a cesspool of treasonous behavior. Do you know why this is a cesspool and a bunch of treasonous behavior? Well, it's because nobody's doing nothing about it. If you paid attention to the last live stream I did, then you should know that the reason why this guy is doing what he does, and hey, man, all power to him, but he shows me something and I start paying attention and I hear certain words come out of the mouth and he literally articulates the specific narrowed down, organically played out information that needs to be disseminated and doesn't. Because listen to what he says right here.
Want to get this sorted out.
But there's also like I said, there's levels to this and lines that
right. I mean, it goes law, policy.
It doesn't give you the right to like.
It doesn't, but it's right. Exactly, because it's secure. It's.
You hear that? He said it was secure, right? So let's go back and let's watch some of the issues that we were having here. So when he walked up, all right, when Sean walked up, all right, and he's seen what he's seen, there's things that he didn't see that if he was caring enough to see what was actually being played out in this video, he would also know, right, in one thing, that there is those things that he points out in other videos that he's not really pointing out in this video, and it actually applies more in this video than it does those others. Okay, so I want you to take a good look around right now. He's in a public space, right? In front of a building. It's got "We the People," which is our flag, which is their, and then you have the Florida State logo, right? That is their state flag and their constitutional flag. And then it has specific jurisdictions and notices right here under
as long as
this right here. You'll see this if you look right here. And then it's got a superintendent something. Let's take a look at this real quick. And let's see what that says. He goes from left to right. Let me see if I can get that right there. Superintendent, what's that say? Superintendent. Yeah, it just says superintendent. So basically, I'm thinking that there is a definition to this that we're not seeing. I'm not sure if that's what it is or not, and I don't care one way or another if it isn't. But this is what I call a demarcation line. You see this right here? This is where you lose your Fourth Amendment rights, passing this demarcation line, because it is a specific line that you cross. And this is where it says, we have the right to search, seize, and know what's coming into this area, because this is a controlled environment. This, even though it's open, you lose some of those issues and some of those freedoms that you normally would use in this. So I don't know why he doesn't point that out. So let's watch it.
And to ensure that our public servants recognize our rights and treat us with respect. Let's get into it. Well, isn't this very inviting? An open door.
So you got a door that's being like wedged open, right?
We
say
are at the
toilet.
Cayuga Correctional Facility here in.
This is, it's like all wedged open. Let me see. And then you got a dude watching TV. Look at this. You got a like, was that a 45, 50 inch down there? Look at that. This dude's really watching TV. He caught him watching TV. Can you believe this crap? Look at this crap. And then you got this guy that comes out. He's saying what he's saying, and I really don't care what he's saying. It doesn't matter to me. He's telling him to step outside. He doesn't want to step outside. So he calls the troopers, right? What's going on? Y'all done seen this. So then this guy comes out, the lieutenant and their deputy, and then he starts going over this. He takes a picture of him, right? Let's see, we'll be, hey, north, hi to Peter, North here, Wood, film stuff. Whatever. Okay. Okay. Hey, what's going on? XOX, my brother Geo in the house. Anyway, so yeah, so you guys got these guys, right? They're sitting. I don't really care. You guys can go watch this if you want to. You know, Sean is got himself in a position, and he's really been successful for himself, and I'm glad that he's making a lot of money off of his um betrayal of his first narrative when he was 15 feet from a police car on a sidewalk and was arrested, right? I can't forget it. Y'all can, fine. That's and I have no problems with you guys trusting him and watching his stuff because that's what people do, right? But what we're talking about right here, this guy's perpetrating a fraud, reading something that's not going to supersede the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. What they're not telling you is that this parking lot, if it's open to the public, then it's open to your camera anywhere. I don't care what this stupid sign right here tells you that you're uh, uh, subject to search. They can't just walk up to you because it's not a restricted area and search you. They still have to have RAS and they still have to be MCOL certified or certified on that property to have a certification to even detain you. So all that other crap that you're talking about, it doesn't even matter, right? Because it's open to the public. So when I seen that demarcation line, that is what that fence is. That's a restricted area, right? And it even said if you come within 50 feet, you're going to get us our attention. And this sign right here will give us prudence to take an advantage of that Fourth Amendment right that you gave up when you said it was okay after passing it, right? You automatically gave that up. Of course, you can still ask him, hey, I'm just recording to what my eyes can see, and I have no ill will, no ill intent. And you could tell him you're a journalist and you're here to invoke your First Amendment right and the state right in New York, they have a right to record COs. It even says that a right to monitor act that gives them specific rights under the law, under the state law that allows them to record police officers, COs, and any other uh, law enforcement officer in the course of their duty. How else are you going to record a CO officer in the course of his duty if anywhere else but a prison? And where the public can go, so can your camera, right? Let's do this.
Publicly owned is a non-public forum.
Publicly owned.
Traditionally
He
recognized
even said it, publicly owned. Listen to this.
or designated as a forum for public
Publicly owned.
assembly, and it is thus restricted. Your activity here is considered a security risk and a trespass. If you drive a vehicle,
You're not a law enforcement officer. Hey, sir, I don't know if you're familiar with the New York State Right to Monitor Act. I mean, I guess you should be, but I don't know if you're familiar with the details of it. I don't want to break the law. I'm not trying to get arrested. So
Here comes all the apologetics.
in order for me to take this to court, are you going to arrest me if I get engaged in my statutory protected activity and record on the public accessible areas?
Where are you going to be recording?
In the publicly accessible areas, not in any restricted area. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. But I'm saying in the publicly accessible areas, of the correctional facility.
Which includes what? Like what?
The sidewalks here, the sidewalks here, just asking questions, correctional officers, the public sidewalks.
Correction officers as they come out.
Right. Well, I wanted to
You obviously
on the
can't
sidewalk. I'm not going. Yeah, I only went in to ask for a supervisor. I went in. I said, "Hey, can I speak to a supervisor?" And none of these gentlemen came.
Now, I'm going to tell you what I believe. When Sean went past that part right there, when Sean went, even though he caught him wrong, right? When Sean went past this part right here, according to his ethics, this is a demarcation line. That's why he didn't bring it up, because he broke the law. He broke that right to monitor law. This right here, this gate, why do you think this gate's put up here? They have a gate that goes in front of the other gates, right? That right there tells them that you were, this notice right here, if you zoom in on this notice, I don't know if it'll let me. Maybe if I go to his, let me see if I can go to his, maybe I could do this another way. Hold up a second, because my phone might let me do this. I'll go into 1080 and then, let me see. And then I'll read that. Hopefully I have it on 1080. Quality. Advanced. 1080 premium. Yeah, I can't see it. But I guarantee it, it tells them that they can't record. It tells them that they can't have certain things on them. It tells them to take it back to their car. I promise you that. I've been in these places, I know. So this is where this line right here is the demarcation line. That's what he's not telling you. And he got away with it. Okay. And if these cops knew what they were really talking about, that just tells me they further don't know their job, because they could use that as their demarcation line, as would anybody else that had any brains that was working for the government. But let's see. Yeah, I can't see what that says. Damn, I thought I would be able to, but anyway, let's go ahead.
Accessible areas to promote transparency and accountability in government, and to ensure that our public servants recognize our rights and treat us with respect. Let's get into it. Well, listen.
So we went back there, and just his basic arguments. He didn't bring none of that up.
Trespassing, for instance, you brought up criminal trespass. Let's take just property trespass, right?
Yeah, simple trespass.
Okay, simple
A
trespass.
violation.
These people over here, you're not allowed to just go in their yard, right?
Right.
If they have posted signs out here,
Right.
that's a line you can't cross.
Correct.
I mean, I get it. It's not secure like per se where there's not a barbed wire fence.
Right.
You know, but there is that imaginary line that if you
If
cross
there's
it,
right.
you're
If
breaking
if
the
there's
law.
notice that you cannot be there.
That's what I'm saying.
But there's no
right
there's
here,
no
nobody
notice.
would argue, and they're going to agree. Nobody's arguing that you
Right.
are within your right. You could stand right here and record everything you want. You could stay the rest of your life and record.
But it says
when you cross that, would we look at that like a trespass sign?
but
you know what I'm saying?
it's not, because it doesn't say like, for example, there's a sign over there that says no unauthorized persons beyond this point. Right. But
it's kind of like trespass. Like they don't have posted signs.
Right. But can
So
if you heard him read the law, it says you can record on state property as long as you're recording correctional officers and peace officers in the course of their duty.
Right.
He literally just read that, right?
Right.
I'm not crazy. Like I'm telling, he read that.
Where are these lines that you're crossing? Obviously.
Did you guys see the line? Do you guys want to go back here? We'll come right back to it. Those of you just came in, the line was right there, right in the beginning, and he crossed it. It's right here. See, a lot of people will look at this and say, "Wolby, what are you doing?" I'm telling the truth. That is a demarcation line. Sorry. Sean broke the law, and he says he doesn't want to. I make mistakes too. And in hindsight, you should agree with me.
New York State Right to Monitor Act activity. I've unfortunately been arrested doing things of this nature.
And he went back up there again. He should be prosecuted fully 1,000% under that law. He had no right to be in that restricted area past that demarcation line. And there was a notice that said so. You cannot record. They doubled down on everything that was said on that fence.
All get tossed out in court because I'm engaged in a statutorily protected activity.
Okay.
And that's my thing.
This exact scenario has happened at other jails and prisons, and you were arrested.
No, not here. I've never been. I'm
saying other jails.
No. I've been in, let's say, City Hall or whatever. But the point is that I've been in other correctional facilities, and troopers have come out and they've said, "Well, the law is the law," and they leave, and then I leave. I've asked my questions. I've moved on, and I've leave. But I don't stand here for 8 hours straight. But the whole point is to see if the law enforcement officers uphold their oath to uphold the United States Constitution and the New York State law.
If I was a rat, I would call them and say, you guys can make your case and you guys can swear out a warrant for his arrest for that. Because he did. That's your demarcation line. All you got to do is say it. There's a demarcation line said right there, and I guarantee it. I promise you, something on that fence said that he wasn't allowed to do that in their policy, and that is a restricted area. That's where the public loses the sidewalk, the traditional public view. You're no longer in traditional. It has that fence has the expectation to keep intruders from violating certain specific dualities and rights that they want or protections that they have under the law that exempts them from like the First Amendment exempts us, but that is no longer traditional. And time, place, and manner does apply. The time, the place was restricted. He shouldn't have went beyond that point. So Smith versus Cummings don't apply there. Turner v. Driver says you have a right to record in the course of their duty, but not past the restrictions. That's what Smith versus Cummings was all about. So look, man, I'm not going to pretend that this guy did not break the law, because he did. The guy broke the law, man.
That's the whole point of this, is to make sure that there is no.
Everybody here, we all want to uphold the law. That's what we're being paid to do right now between them and me. Their job, deputy superintendent, lieutenant, their job is to make sure this facility stays secure and safe. My job is to enforce laws, respond to calls, and that's what I'm here at the moment doing, trying to get to the bottom of this.
Right.
Oh,
so
I'm sure he'll be mad as hell, and he won't. I have his number too, and he has mine. I guarantee it. He won't call me to like say something. He'll just throw me into that other category like I'm a nobody. Like oh well. But when they actually put you away for 90 days because they want to throw you the book at you, or it might be more because that might be a federal or excuse me, a state criminal trespass, which is they can give him up to a year inside a correctional facility for that because he's not paying attention to those laws. Now, I wouldn't want to see nobody go into a rape cage for free speech, but him being apologetic and ratting us out to begin with, and telling that sheriff and writing that apologetic notes and neutering the First Amendment from that very first start told me what kind of a person that he was. Now, I love some of the work that he's come out, and I love the fact that a lot of square people follow him. Fine, follow him, and it's mostly half right and half wing left wing bootlickers that say, well, yeah, well, he's more appropriate and he's not like that fat guy Wolverine cusses him out all the time. Well, I am not against law enforcement in the same manner that Sean is. Sean probably has this identity politics. He believes in that race thing. I'm not in that. I've withdrawn for that, and even though I do see racism, and I pointed out on small bases, but him to look at Caucasian people the way he does, I know, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, and my opinion don't mean shit anyway, but to nobody else. But I think he's a racist. That's just my opinion. That don't mean that that his views won't change. And in hindsight, it won't change this man. But I think he thinks he's better than other people. That is where his racism comes from, which is the same thing as the bootlicker that looks at the average person and says, "Oh, we don't care if you go to jail because we don't like the way you're acting or you're hurting my feelings." It's the same shit.
I'm just saying he literally read you the law. Okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
If I hang on this for a second, I'll
Yeah. So you're gonna stay out here?
I'm gonna wait for whatever the law enforcement officer says, so that way I have standing in court to take it to court, and a judge could decide. I'm not saying you should decide or anybody else.
I'm saying that this lieutenant right here, both the and this deputy, they had arrest authority to arrest him because that's like him going past that gate. He had no business going past that gate.
Decide. I am going to wait what the law enforcement officer advises me it was what he's going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's going to be raining. Yeah, it's going to be raining. So it's interesting. Why are there still National Guardsmen here, sir?
All gates and warnings on those gates are to protect intruders from coming in. That it is set up to keep intruders out. That's what the law says. I'm not saying it. I'm not making this crap up. You'll hear it come out of Sean's mouth, redistributed it out of his mouth to these guys. Listen to
the strike was over. Do you know why they're still here? You can't make any comment?
All right, Gio. Love you, brother.
Okay. No problem.
Headquarters. I thought it was going to be related to this. What are your intentions here?
My intention is to stand on the my intention was to stand on the public sidewalk outside of the facility and record correctional and record them in the course of their duty. What exactly the law says I can do. That's exactly what the law says I can do. And again, I understand that the law. Well, yeah, I can record the watchtower. I can record these guys in the watchtower. I can record them as they're coming in and out.
I'll tell you what, I've been doing, Anthony. I've been doing this a long time, longer than him, and I didn't get my roots built up because there's a lot of ableists that don't like the way I talk. Okay, I'm sorry when the cop starts breaking laws, and then it takes me to that point. It's like Tom Holman when he's standing beside Title 8, all right, and he's watching when he goes into the desert, and there's these big containers that got 100 people in it, and the majority of them are family oriented people. And it's as soon as they open the door, it stinks to high heaven because all the unlive people in there that were murdered under the coyotes that were illegally bringing unauthorized aliens into this country under Title 8, double I, triple I. Okay. So when Tom Homan sees this, he wants to go after people and charge them because they are responsible for the murders and lives of those people. And that's what I'm saying about tyrants. When I see tyrants doing the same thing on my streets and they are literally committing felonies in my presence, and I know that they're wrong in their inherent color of law, I'm sorry. I lose my head a little bit. I go goofy. I go crazy. I'm like, I want to, you know, and it just drives me absolutely mad to know that these murderers are getting away with it.
Again, from here, which we can all agree that from here is 100% constitutionally protected activity, right?
You want to know?
You can't record them in the course of their duty, right? I mean, and I've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, but there's okay. Well, now let's say in the course of their duties, that would also count. They're going to leave here in a van, right?
All right, that's not in the course of the. Oh, that would be in the course. They'll take in a van.
Right. There's plenty of times where.
And this person really wants me to argue this on my live stream. Go have your own live stream and bring it up. It makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense.
You're going to leave. Okay, so maybe
he's there to do what? Complain about what? He's having a pissing contest with 3 people that enforce specific liberty libel laws. Okay? Because you have liberty to walk around in some places, let alone to be free. You're not always to be the liberty to do everything you want to do. Some of those liberties are taken away from those traditional public forums. And when you pass that first gate, and it literally says you have no rights beyond this, and it's a secure area. You can't do this. You can't record. You can't have weapons. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it's created to keep those type of intrusions out. You break the law. Now, when those people use that law and tell you in places where you're not subjected to that type of stuff, and they hurt you because you're willing to stand for it. And how many people do they kill a year doing this? It makes perfect sense to me why people that will not obey the law and only enforce some laws, like letting those people in, opening our borders, and not only leaving the places and securing the places except the ports of entry, which is one in California, one in Arizona, and one in Texas. There should have been a line from here to wherever, and they should have did it case on case basis. You don't just let millions of people in because you feel like. You wouldn't let people line up to your house and say, "Hey, you got 3 extra bedrooms, would you? Get out of here. We're going with your gang."
That's what that law applies to.
It may. I mean, I just don't. It doesn't say when they're leaving in a van, right? It says in the course of their duty.
Operate in the gray area.
I want to operate in the exact text of the law, not
the exact text of the law is a demarcation line. When it tells you to stay out and it tells you we're limiting your expectations and the privacy and the safety of this institution that keeps criminals at bay, where they literally lock up murderers, rapists, and baby rapers, okay? And they got them locked up. And they have different levels on that property where it's open to the public and then it's open to people that came for that part. But now you got to give up specific things like lighters, can't have no cigarettes on you. You can't have nothing big, things that may be weapons. You can't record past a certain thing because it's restricted. It is restricted in restricted areas to record. And that was the demarcation line again, right here in the beginning. Sean only shows it in the beginning. And he was way off this. In my opinion, he broke the law right there. This fence that goes all the way this way and all the way that way. I'm telling you, it's a demarcation line. And that's that. So I'm going to let this play out.
at the end of the day, I don't think it's that big of a deal to be making a big deal about it. Especially when the law is the law. We read the law. He read the law. I didn't read it. I should probably bring a copy of the law, but he read the actual text of the law, and it sounds to me, as I've read it, that exactly what the purpose of it is, for journalists and people to ask questions.
Yeah,
Not just
you gotta understand. You're saying, okay, laws are gonna override policy,
right.
but you're at a federal prison. You know what I mean?
Well, this is
Or
not a state prison,
me,
right? Okay.
You're at a state prison. So,
but they says correctional officers. Where else would a correctional officer be?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, you can film, and this law was written. The intent, I remember this law was written, was the intent of, because there was some confusion with us as law enforcement officers out here doing our duties. Can you sit here? Can you sit here and record me while I make an arrest? And I always understood. I'm like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean, we got body cams. What the hell? That doesn't make any. Of course, you can record what the police are doing in public. That never made any sense to me that people would argue that.
Well, they had to codify it into law because people were getting arrested.
Certain cops like, no, you don't have a right.
You know, OGA.
I could give two shits, to be honest, whether you're recording or not. I always do things the right way, so I don't give a shit.
That's how everybody
That's why that law was written, right? That was what
I know. People know that I got a degree, man. I mean, I'm not just talking shit just to be talking it. That's specific and it runs concurrent.
Shoved it to the forefront.
Right. Well, it was
applicable to the operational purview that they're in. If you read the signs, I already know what they say. It just restricts you in its restricted area where your camera cannot be. The press cannot be there without permission. That is a restricted area. That's like the same thing as the key codes that all those guys on the West Coast, all those guys on the East Coast, all these people in Michigan. I've audited with so many people, it's unreal. I know what's key coded and what is. And I know that demarcation line, if you go onto a base, that demarcation line, you can't be in there recording without permission. You got to go to their PIO. You got to get permission because it's not a traditional public forum past the demarcation lines. I'm saying everything outside the demarcation lines gives you the right to do it. That's why they had that TV in there, because they knew they can get away with it because they seen a demarcation line. But if he would have zoomed in from outside, he would have caught him, and that would have been a good catch.
It was passed right after the George Floyd incident, things of that nature.
Yeah,
right.
But things change.
I'm not going to bet you because I'm not a rat. I'm not going to call and rat this guy out. I don't do stupid crap like that. That's not what I want to get accomplished. But I'm telling you, it's not right. But everything else is. That's why they say, yeah, you can go all the way back up in there if you want and record, but not up in the lobby.
There, I don't know when this law was written, but
I believe 2021.
2021. Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, the state had a bunch of reactions.
But again, I just read the law, and it said correctional officer, so I came here, and it's not like I'm coming here just randomly to test the law. There is a lot going on with the New York State docks. People are dying.
Striking.
Right.
We had a couple of people die.
Right.
Within.
Right. I went to the court. I went to the courthouse and covered that arraignment of those the officers that were charged with depraved murder. Again, that was in Marcy. 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 It was Onondaga County, I believe. Yeah. I believe that's where it was. But yeah, I covered their arraignments inside the courtroom. And again, when you say your official press or something, I was inside the courtroom recording.
Does anybody in here that know me, that knows what I said, do you believe me? Give me a 1. I want the people that know me. Do you think that I'm right?
Their arraignments like right next to all the official press, right? And that's my whole thing is that, there's some local, I'm sure there's some local.
A lot of people don't know me, and they don't know my intention. My intention is to be lawful. I want not fuck legal. I'm talking about lawful. I want to be all the way lawful. I want to stay within the law and legislative Article 1 as the judicial in Article 2 and the elective in Article 3 enforce and uphold. Legislative writes it, judicial interprets it and is another half of the enforcement, and so is the elective. Does this thing just go dead on me? It sure did. Damn it. Because I'm not going to be having, I know that a lot of people come to my channel and, they're friends with people outside. And there's people that will come here on a basis, thinking that, because they're
that you
friends
would say,
with these other
Sound like
guys.
you don't not tell
Damn
me
it.
how to do my job.
It's gonna be like, oh, you got my arm too tight. Relax.
Their duty.
Policy.
It doesn't give you the right to like.
it doesn't, but it's
decide this.
right, exactly, because it's secure.
I
It's
will
a,
not
it's
give you that.
Is this considered?
Damn
This is secure. It's saying you're entering a
I-
secure
right,
area.
but it's
I will not give you that liberty, okay, to and exempt the facts because you feel this person is this, and this, okay, and I want to correct that, and I will prove it.
but when it's not a secure area because it's not secured in any way.
Listen to what they're saying. Everything he's saying right now on his face is right. Listen to it. They're talking about what I'm talking about. Listen.
Like I said, there's levels to this and lines that.
Right. I mean, it goes law, policy.
It doesn't give you the right to like.
It doesn't, but it's right, exactly, because it's secure. It's.
Is this considered? This is secure. It's saying you're entering a secure
Right, but
area,
but when it's not a secure area because it's not secured in any way, designed in a manner. The criminal trespass statute it has to be designed in a manner to exclude intruders.
Let's take trespassing for instance. You brought up criminal trespass.
Now that is a fact. To exclude and get rid, or to get rid and keep out intruders. So the intrusion after a certain line that is restricted, when it becomes a less and gets more and more restricted, that is when you start losing more and more your Fourth Amendment right. And they have to know who you are. Past those demarcation lines that you are in, you are subject to that sign to search and seizure on your person past that fence. And that is a fact.
Just property trespass, right?
Simple trespass.
Simple
a
trespass.
violation.
These people over here, you're not allowed to just go in their yard, right?
Right.
If they have posted signs out here,
Right.
That's a line you can't cross.
Correct.
I mean, I get it. It's not secure, like per se, where there's not a barbed wire.
Yeah, but you're in a place where, if you're in a public place or you're on your own property, whatever, zooming into something else, hey man, it's the onus is on them. Zagan, the onus is on them. And that is why those signs right there and those tiers that you're going into get more and more secure because the onus is on them. And they put up a fence. So that fence is there. It's a demarcation line.
Fence,
Right.
But there is that imaginary line that if you
If
cross
there's
it,
right. If there's notice that you cannot be there.
That's what I'm saying.
But there's no
Right
there's
here,
no
nobody
notice.
would argue.
Yeah, there is. And Sean didn't see this sign right here. This sign right here tells you there is a part to where you're going to be searched and seized right here. It just doesn't say anything about trespassing. I guarantee it. Those other notices do.
No agree.
I'll
Nobody's
be willing to bet any amount of money that it does say it.
arguing that you
Right.
are within your right. You could stand right here and record everything you want. You could say
He
the rest
won't-
of your life. And record.
I know he went from right to left to right to left. He did. Here, so we are at 21:04. Let me just go ahead real quick. And he just goes from right to left right there. And I can't zoom in. It's not allowing me to zoom in on that specific part because I can't see it. Hold up a second. Let me go into my phone and see if I can't do it again. Jesus. Let's see. Maybe I'll get lucky and we'd be able to read it. Son of a bitch. Don't do that. Don't do that. Damn it. It did it. Give me a minute, guys. Get it. If I watch this. I'm gonna prove it. or if I have to, I'll call up there and get somebody to see if they'll send me a picture of what that sign says. I'm a journalist and I'm curious what that sign says, please. Because see, that fence goes all the way down. See that? I'm looking at it all the way right now. Damn it. Let's see if I can get it there. Advanced. Let's do premium 180, 1080. Yeah, I could just see the notice. I could just see the notice, man. Let me see if I can take a picture of that and see if it'll be able to read it. Let me see. Let's see. Maybe my maybe it'll be able shit. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. See if I take a picture of that and see if it will come back and allow me to create a T and then put it in notes. Save, hold up. I might get lucky. It might be able to read it. Translate. Shit. I'll scan. Save. And translate. Save. No, it's not doing it. Nope. I can't see it. Fuck. If anybody else can get that, I promise you, you'll get that line goes from right all the way down, left all the way down. That's where their truck goes all the way around. You're not allowed, it says right on the effing fence that you're not supposed to be 50 feet from their main fence. That's in their legislative law. Watch this. Let's see. Where did I see that at? I know I seen that. When he got over there and he zoomed in. Let's see why he was out here. Hold up a second. Hold up a second. Right here. Right here. When he was talking about the
Sign up for this. Why are they still working here if the strike is over? So I want to wait for law enforcement because
yeah, see, he's not. Yeah, he's smart, man. He's smart. He ain't gonna tell on himself. He knows the mistake that he made. He know he got away with it. He got away with some shit here, dude. Y'all know that. Everybody knows it. See that line? See that? You know what? Let me see something. Hold up a second, guys. I might be able to prove something else right here. That's it. The definition itself, superintendent, means the caretaker of a restricted area. Yeah, that's why he does it. It says it right there. All this is restricted. It's all restricted, man. The annex of this building, you can't just walk up and take pictures of it.
I will
It's a secure building.
be filing a lawsuit in state court for that incident.
There's a Sally port that goes coming in. Sometimes they bring you through the front, sometimes they'll take you through the back. But when people are released, they don't release them out of the back. They walk right out the front door.
Always follow up. These videos mean nothing without any lawsuits or follow up. Just like I filed the federal lawsuit against the Lake County in Illinois for deleting my footage from my phone under threat of arrest. They mean nothing without follow up. So that's important.
Yeah.
But, you know,
they don't know the law, or otherwise they would have arrested them. That's what this freaking line means.
Crazy the difference. It always depends on
the demarcation line.
the law enforcement officer, on whether they're going to honor their oath to uphold the Constitution and the state laws. And he did that.
I mean, Dan, that you got to understand, though, sir, that they're earning the hate. Okay, they're earning the hate
Today. And I will say, the lieutenant said, you know, going to leave here in handcuffs. I guess you were wrong about that one, Lieutenant. At the end of the day, we're going to hang out here for a few more minutes, and then we're going to be getting out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I promise you, this sign or this sign right here, this one right here.
On the law enforcement officer, on whether they're going to honor their oath to uphold the Constitution and the state laws. And he did that today. And I will say, the lieutenant said, you know, going to leave here in handcuffs. I guess you were wrong about that one, Lieutenant. At the end of the day, we're going to hang out here for a few more minutes.
I'll tell you what, if that lieutenant, you see these signs right here? If you go out and read those signs, I promise you, this gate goes all the way to the big ones, okay? Or surrounds the whole thing. I promise you that. And I promise you, it says keep out. Nobody fit. And it tells you on the main gate that you can't be within 50 feet. And that gate is probably about 30 or 40 feet away. So I know I read that somewhere. If I can go back, let me see, man. Damn. Where was it? I know he zoomed into it. Maybe he did it while he was waiting. I don't know. Let me see. It's the same things these say. It's the same things these say. I guarantee it. Electronics, no electronic drugs or delivery systems may be used. Yep. I'll bet you that's what those say. Anyone testing positive for illegal substance? I don't know about all that, but that them are inmates. Let me see if I can get this. Let me see. I'll bet.
Electronic devices.
Just sitting here watching some TV.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to speak to a supervisor. That's all right.
Yep. But you got to go out with the camera.
Sure, I'll wait in the public lobby area over here. Let's sit here and watch TV all day.
Everybody says, I'll wait in the public lobby. He knew that he wasn't in a public lobby. Do you understand that? He went in. That right there was arrestable. They could get a warrant for his arrest for going that far. He's not supposed to be in there.
I guess, right?
With that camera.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm swell, thank you. What's going on?
Nothing much. I just wanted to. Is that door supposed to be open?
Could you do
This door is not supposed to be open. It's supposed to be secure.
me a favor and step outside? We'll talk out here.
We could talk here.
No, we
Just
gotta
it's a
go
little
outside,
windy.
but you can have that in here.
Yes, I can, sir.
So we can go outside.
It says so right here.
Who are you, sir?
Sergeant Sweden.
Sergeant Sweden?
You've
Yeah.
worked-
Remember, trespassing in a federal or state institution that is designed to keep people in and designed to keep intruders out have that authority. It's not a traditional public forum.
I'm happy to talk out here, my man.
No, we can talk in here. This is a public lobby.
We can go outside. We can have a chat.
I'm fine right here,
This guy,
Sergeant.
this guy has made an ass out of our community so many times, especially that one when he read it. I got that one. I got the original. One day when he talks a line of shit about me publicly, like I'm doing right now, if he tries to rebuke me, I'm going to release the main one. See, he's got another one attached to the run. It's the wrong one. He's 15 feet away from a traffic stop, and they tell him he can't be there on that public sidewalk recording him, and they arrest him. They drag him over to the car and they arrest him. And then he all of a sudden writes up this apologetic letter. And he thinks that I don't have that clip. I got it and I will use it. I will use it. He took it down a long time ago, but I will use it if he talks fat man shit. You guys can go stir the pot if you want. It's not in his interest. And if anything, it'll get me more subs. Go ahead. But I'm not, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I really don't want to. I don't want to do it because I want everyone, including him, to be successful and get as much as money as he can off these networks and these public forums that are accessible to the public. I want you to. I want you as watchers that are trying to get the information and disseminate and literally record stuff that is a matter of public trust. Go ahead, man. They have been dogging me forever. I don't give a shit. Don't you know that? They talk all kinds of untrue facts that they call facts out there about me. He ain't doing nothing to me. That ain't doing nothing. It's all garbage. It's all talk and it's all mouth. You put me in a room alone with you. I know some things, man. Look, it's all good. Let me see if I can I'll mute this and let's fast forward some of this. I think he zooms in. On a, let's see, he zooms in and on that fence it says, stay 50 feet away from this fence and prosecutors will be violated under a New York statute. And I read that statute a long time ago for Brooklyn audit. And it's enforceable. You can't go past those demarcation lines. Let's see. Hold up. Let's see. Especially when he went beyond that door right there. Because he's not visiting nobody. And that's a limited public forum. I agree, Ziggin. I'm totally against him. And if you go watch my shit, you'll see it. I stood up to him. No, there ain't nobody beefing. I'm not an auditor. I'm not beefing with this clown. Everybody knows how I feel about this dude. I had a chance to chase clout with them guys. I could have went with old boy. I'm not even gonna tell you his name. I was invited a long time ago. And if I would have went to that, I would have got my respect and my dues. But I didn't. And because I turned them down, and I made it known because I don't like the way they audit. I don't like apologetics. Oh, what that sign say? Damn it. What that sign say? I'm trying to speed this up. Damn it. I think he zooms in onto it. No, remember in a geo, if we have security, right? And if that security is to keep in those murderers and rapists and baby rapers, right? You don't want people having that information. So there's tiers of security. That's why those, how we walk into like those city halls, and if they got those key codes, you're not supposed to go past that. That is a lock and key where another person literally has to watch you on a camera and let you in. And then you get stripped. You get patted down everywhere in your body to go visit somebody inside that door once you're put on a visiting list. And you got to keep all your shit outside. And it tells you once you're in that parking lot and you're on that list, you are every tier that you go past, more and more security. You lose your Fourth Amendment right once you're past this door right here. All of it. This door right here. And right here, where he's at, he should not be recorded inside there, in my opinion. Because this is not just a lobby. So hold up. I think right about here, he zooms in on a sign that says, shit. I know he did. Damn it. Where in the hell is that? Maybe why they were waiting for the law. Maybe when he was waiting for other things. Hold up. Maybe he zoomed in after the trooper goes into his car. I know what that said, man. And it's not, I looked up the legislation. I looked it up a long time ago, man. And it's in legislation. And that's what they're trying to enforce. They're trying to enforce that out there where he is now. And that's where they're wrong. Okay, guys? That's why they're wrong or 2 left feet. He said, yeah, you could be out here recording, blah, 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 blah. Nah. I'm going to show you what it says on that fence. That fence is a demarcation line, guys. That sign probably says right here. It doesn't say anything about trespassing, but it talks about searches and seizures. I guarantee this. It says anybody beyond or within 50 feet. I read it. 50 feet of this fence. I think it was the last one he did. That was on that fence. It said 50 feet from this fence, you will be prosecuted under the NY blah 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 something something. I forget what it was, but I know I read it. I know it. No, it's actually under the statute that they used. It's not. It's policy that is right here. This is policy, right? Because all this is open to public. You're allowed to record out here, all the way up to that fucking fence that is called a demarcation line, George. What's not law, George? Tell me what's not law. Say it. Don't worry, I'll prove it. I'm just not going to rat. I don't want to call up there and rat the guy out because I'm not going to rat him out because they can get a warrant for his arrest from what I know. I know they can. I'm not going to rat him out. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. You got to show me what policy you're talking about. I mean, let's just look at about it. Let me put it to you like this. In the courts, you got directive policy in federal law, and then you have operating standard procedure. So operating standard procedure is corporate law, and then directive policy is federal law. Okay. Do you hear me? It's constitutional law. That is their language for it. This is directive policy, okay, which is constitutional legislative law. Flat out, point blank. All constitutional law is directive policy. It's direct law. And then operating standard procedure. It's still prosecutable under the law. Look, do I agree with all that? Not all the hell no. 95% of the time, hell no. But it's not a traditional public forum. Sorry, guys. Past that fence, it wasn't. I know what that fence said. He took a picture of it. Hold up, if I could find that picture. He zoomed in on that fence and it said, no trespassing. People within 50 feet will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And then it had the legislative New York law underneath it, the compiled law. I might get lucky if I go slow enough to see it because I don't want to watch this whole thing. So if you're going to call anything, you're going to say corporate law. So you're saying most of it, what you guys are trying to say is, hey, most of that's corporate law. Okay. Instead of constitutional law, which is legislative law. Come on, man. If you're going to say it right. A corporation is business. What are you talking about? They're incorporated. They got a chain of corporates that they got a corporate and they got a chain of businesses that incorporated themselves. It's all, yeah, it is. It's business. It's what do they call that? Um, a corporation is the head of a bunch of businesses that appear 500. Similar to that. Well, it's all policy, Geo, brother. It's all policy. Even constitutional law is policy. So I still don't get what you're trying to say. See, and you need, I think, don't you, people are, what's happening here is you're conflating it. Now, if you listen to, uh, 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 like, James, James, James Spengler, aka James Freeman, he'll tell you it's what Master says. You know, they're all, you know, self-made policies that they put into effect, and you know they posse up and put spells on you. Okay, if you listen to what he's saying the same thing I'm saying. I'm just articulating it different. Like I said, you got operating standard procedure and then directive policy. Operating standard procedure is corporate law, and then you have constitutional law, which is federal law. Policy isn't law. So let me get this straight. Directed policy is not law. Go and ask a jailhouse attorney with a bar card. Go ask him. He'll tell you. He'll tell you. That's who put me up on it. I'll never forget it. I wish Q was still around because he knew his shit. Let me see. And I wish to God I could see that. It's got a legislative law on it. Even, you know, even the legislative Article 1 through the 10th Amendment that allows the states to rewrite their laws, that is even corporate law because they're using the 10th Amendment to rewrite these laws that are in federal law. So they can, the states can keep the money that they're making instead of giving to the federal. And the cities rewrite their shit under resolutions and call it ordinances. And then they call it Article 1, which is bullshit. That's all corporate law, corporate policy. Well, sure, I'm not saying that it ain't. I'm telling you that corporate law is an operating standing procedure, meaning they look at directive policy and then they make their own laws and interpret from directive policy, which is constitutional law. They'll take a constitutional law and break it down. For an example, let's look at the I'm gonna say this once and I'm gonna leave it be. You got federal law, right? That is got a federal statute on trespassing, and it defines what trespassing is, right? That is why we know the difference between private and business, right? And then taxpayer funded business corporations like this. It's all incorporated, right? Because they're all running this like a fucking business. The United States is one big corporation. That's why I'm trying to tell you. They are shadow banning the law under operating standard procedure off of directive policy, and they rewrite it to fit their narrative so they can keep all the money. Hey, y'all have a great night. You can agree to disagree all you want. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. I was trained correctly and I believe what I'm saying. So you guys have a great day and know that just because this guy got to take a ring around, according to federal law, interpreted as federal policy that allowed them to give them the 10th Amendment to write the laws to keep intruders out. This fence line right here is called a demarcation line, and they're not allowed to cross it without permission. And when they do cross it, so when they step across that, they go into that door and they state their business. Okay. And when they state their business, they're saying, okay, well, you don't go in here and state, well, I want to break somebody out, right? Because they're going to watch the hell out of you especially as soon as you pass that point. I promise you that's what these signs say, that it's not legible. I can't see. And right here. So what is right here was in that lobby. This is all different. I think this is all search and seizure law right here. Once you pass this line, because these guys that are running around in these vans that go all the way around the facility are armed, and they're Cole certified to protect this facility. Okay, guys, love you. Take care. I gotta go. I'm going to bed. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Night night.